Hello, hello, good evening. It's good to be back. Good to be back on Urc Unloaded. I'm here joined, I wasn't here last week, I feel let the team down a couple of weeks ago. I am joined by regular co-hosts, pundits, experts, Stephen Ferris, Tom Shanklin. How are you, Jack? All good?
Yeah, just to say, Warren Gatland's blaming a lot of former pundits at the moment.
That me?
That
you?
going for the Lions. No, look, I was a Lion and loads of Welsh cats before he even came in. All right, so it's not me.
It's not me. It's definitely not me.
John, it's great to see you back, mate.
I'm back. I missed one show. It feels like a lifetime.
Good to see you,
Mate,
John.
One show. You missed loads of shows. We were counting the other day where you like Singapore, Dubai, New York.
You were
Dubai.
Hong Kong.
Hold on.
Bali,
I'm the only one.
Bali.
All right. Okay.
Shanks, we sent our applications for a new co-host.
Well, temp, interim. Mate, you missed a show because your daughter had a sore tummy or something one day.
you're like the Matt Sherritt. You're the Matt Sherritt of the show, you are, John. Temporary.
Look, I'm sorry, I missed one show. Okay.
Right? Why are your cheeks so rosy? For those that are listening, John's come in. We've got such rosy cheeks. Why are they so red, mate?
I just had saunas on.
You went to a health club, did you?
No. What I've realised is you got to invest in your wealth. You got to invest in yourself. Health as well.
Well done.
What's the name of the company, JB? Give them a shout out. What percentage?
Scottish saunas, superstars.
Do they come to Wales and Northern Ireland as well?
They might do.
Yeah.
Might do.
What are they called again, John? Scottish saunas are the best.
Get them on. Lads, we could just stay here and rinse me for the total of the show, but we have got
let's. That's a better option. That's a much better option.
We're gonna we don't want to take up too much time. We're going to get to Wales and we're going to get to Edinburgh. And we're going to get to Ulster in a second, so don't worry about that. We have got two guests today, not just one, two. We've got. Oh no, we've not. We've just got one. I got told by Ben we had two. We just got one. We have got another Scot who's going to join us. It's nice to have another Scot on the podcast, so I won't get as tough a time. Mossy, Chris Paterson, how are you?
I'm here. It's good to see you. You probably can't see me. I'm sitting in the dark with a black top on, but I'm well, thanks. Yeah. I'm well.
Chris, you're in a car park, and people do watch this show live. Can you just let them know what car park you're in, mate, just in case they want to come and meet you?
It's no one of those car parks. Believe me, it's not one of those car parks.
Oh no, I wasn't saying it. I was just saying
you don't know them too well, Shanks. No, it's my son's football training, and I've just dropped him off. So
okay.
It's about an hour away from where I stay in Edinburgh. So no time to get home. So I'm treating you to the interior.
This is the commitment we want. This is the commitment we want. This is what we want.
No part time here, eh?
No. Ian's missed it. He's missed me getting roasted for the last. Anyway, it feels like a while. It's only been 2 minutes apparently. We're also joined by Ian McKinley. How you getting on?
Hi guys, how you keeping?
Hello, Ian. Good, thank you.
Good.
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm glad you came in a bit late. It takes a bit of pressure off me for missing a show last week.
Lads, some technical issues over here.
Technical issue. That's what I had last week.
Yeah.
Tech issues that ruled me out. Just seeing as we've got you both here, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, lads. I guess I'll start with you, Ian. Zebre. I think at the start of the year, kind of signs were potentially a bit ominous. You look at what they've done in the league this year. You know, the wins against Ulster, Ospreys, Munster, losing narrowly in other games, but probably the biggest one was the one against Edinburgh the weekend, their first away win for a long time, apart from Ulster. So what's been the difference?
I mean, when has it ever been that Zebre's been talked in a positive light? You know, this is probably the first ever time, and I won't say it's long overdue, because I suppose even I was very skeptical this year. I didn't think it would be any better than what it has been in the previous years, and I think a huge amount of credit needs to go to Massimo Brunello, he's the new coach that's come in, and you know, the squad hasn't changed that much at all, but what he is renowned for has just been really good working with young players, and has obviously got the bit between the teeth there and given them a huge amount of belief in what they're doing. And even listening to Dave CC, you know, after the game, like, you know, they're sometimes in 20 players, you know, for a training session, you know, sometimes even less, which is sort of hard to fathom and think. So there's obviously just a bit more of a belief. And, you know, I don't know if you've been following all the sort of mayhem with the federation stuff as to who's going to be taking over and all that, which hasn't helped, obviously, but it's obviously galvanized the, you know, the players in some way, and they're proven a lot of people wrong. But it's taken a heck of a long time to get, you know, back-to-back away results, you know, and the more times than not you're on the hiding. But thankfully it's a bit more positive.
So you just think it's belief, do you? Because we watch Zebre now for a while, and they've always tried to play, but sometimes maybe overplayed. Sometimes they'd lose the ball after 5 or 6 phases. At the moment this season, it just seems like they're a lot sharper, they're a lot more accurate. Is that just purely confidence? Is it having the players for a long period? Is it improvement of skill, or is it a mixture? Because they look a lot different to 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's multi-layered, but I think, I mean, in times gone by, you know, sort of when I had my few games there, or even you played against Zebre, like there was no, you know, there wasn't much of a forward pack, so that's sort of why, you know, they'd be running, you know, from their own line and that sort of thing. Whereas I think, you know, there's a bit more of an accuracy within the scrum and the line out nowadays, which is giving them a bit more of a platform to go on. But yeah, they seem to be playing the percentages a lot more, and that's sort of what Brunello would be renowned for. You know, he wouldn't be, you know, all the time jouet sort of style. He's a bit more pragmatic in that approach, and gives them a focal point. I suppose just touching on, Shanks, what you're saying, you know, in terms of been together, like there hasn't been a huge turnaround in the last 3 years, and I would have been hugely critical of the players that have been sort of brought in, you know, in terms of there's no real big marquee signings, you know, but it seems to be the group has generally stuck there together. And because Zebre has been performing so poorly, there's been not many players that have gone on onto the international stage. So literally that group has stuck together throughout the whole year. And this is after now 2-3 years have been together. Maybe you're seeing that development path or togetherness come through a little bit more.
So you were on co-comms for the game at the weekend for the Zebre win, weren't you?
Yep,
I was
Ryan Wilson and I.
I was actually at the Benetton Ulster game, Fez, unfortunately. from an Ulster point of view, because I was I was meant to be working, but I'm actually coaching out in Italy, so I managed to get to the game where I was watching the Benetton one. So but yeah, it's managed to catch the Zebre game anyway, and I suppose the fact that they were in you know, in 13 for a bit of a period towards the end of the game was pretty outstanding from their point of view. And seeing obviously Ryan Wilson getting caught up in celebrations, I don't know how he ended up, but I'm sure it was a good night.
Mossa, you were there, and I mean you spent a lot of time in and around the squad. I mean, a home loss is never great. And for all Zebre, you know, they've improved and they've shown that they can really play. And even the games they're losing, they're not losing by much in many of those. I guess where did Edinburgh go from here?
Well, before we touch on Edinburgh, I'll just echo what Ian was saying. I thought Zebre were defensively were brilliant at the weekend. They weren't challenged massively from Edinburgh's attack, admittedly, but they filled the field. Edinburgh really weren't quick enough to adapt to what they were doing. I thought there was space over the top of the ball. There was probably space to kick. Zebre just filled the field and defended really, really well. So it was built on defence, but also scored. The first try was brilliant. It was 4 offloads, you know, quick attacks. So they were real under Brunello. There's a real kind of structure to what they're trying to do. So Zebre deserved to win, absolutely. Edinburgh will be hugely disappointed with how they performed. There was a lack of physicality, but there was actually some reasonably good individual performances within it. That's a strange thing. I thought Musese Tuipulotu played pretty well in the midfield. Wes Goosen certainly played well at 15 and started, you know, a few line breaks. But the lack of cohesion, I think, is the most alarming thing. Some reasonable individual performances, good individual performances, but no real cohesion. I thought the I felt for our halfbacks quite often where, Ian will know what I'm going to talk about here, having played 10, you get even front football, you look at, and the backs are all split. You don't have a backs unit working together. You were getting caught in kind of 2 at one side of the field, 2 at the other side of the field. Front 5 options always coming in a round of 10. So there wasn't a chance to get a fluency or a fluidity. And that comes from a wee bit of a lack of cohesion. So lost it physically and didn't really have the cohesion to test what was a really brave and tough Zebre defence, but not testing with anything that they really had to solve cognitively.
See, Sean Everett's come under a hell of a lot of pressure, obviously off the back of that result, but also off the back of a number of results this season. Like they had a half decent team out, like Venter, Harrison, Watson, Crosby, a couple of guys coming off the bench, Sam Skinner, Ben Healy. Sorry, like there's big decisions there, and he's not getting them right. Is he under serious heat at the minute?
Well, he'll be uncomfortable, absolutely. But Edinburgh had a lot of coaches and had a similar situation. They've got quality players. Individuals play really well nationally, internationally, for their countries. But I don't know how you get the best out of the squad that's there, because they've tried different styles of coaches, they've tried different personnel. But it's so frustrating. I heard Jamie Ritchie yesterday saying that he was asked a similar question. He said, "We don't know what's wrong." I think what they tried to do last year was
that's pretty alarming, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
players are coming out and saying we don't know how to fix this.
Well, that's the thing, because if they're working hard enough and they feel as if they're performing and delivering, how do you get all coming together? Last year they found, I think, was it about 11 or 12 wins, and the criticism was they didn't get enough bonus points. Now, I said at the time, and I think they have to be really quite cute and say, well, actually, you didn't get enough try bonus points. That was the difference in the end. So this year they've got far more bonus points but fewer wins. So you can only get a losing bonus point if you lose. Last year they were winning these tight games, so getting the 4 points for winning, but not getting the try bonus, which was frustrating. So I think they were far more difficult to beat last year, but they've potentially gone after a bit more try bonus point scenario and transition, a wee bit more counter attack, which I think was the right thing to do. But they've probably gone away for the foundations that allowed them the 11 or 12 wins or whatever last year that was to be built on to progress this year. So maybe they've tried to solve too much and go a bit loose, a bit open. Who knows?
Ian, while you're on here, and you're like our Italian expert, we spoke about Zebre, Benetton this year. I think that was a huge win for them. They've obviously had a really good European campaign, beating Bath, La Rochelle, which were 2 massive, fantastic wins. But I think they struggled slightly in the ORC this year so far. Prior to the game at the weekend, they'd only scored 20 tries and they'd shipped a lot of points, and a lot of their stats were down the bottom. But do you think this game against Ulster last weekend might be a bit of a kick up the backside they need to try and progress a little bit further?
100%. I couldn't agree more. The season was real stop-start, even up until the sort of Zebre games at Christmas, which is sort of, obviously there's a bit of debate around that Benetton, whenever Zebre were at the poor end, I suppose, from a performance level, that was sort of a gimme 10 points to maybe kickstart things going on. And that sort of was the way it was this season. And been fortunate enough to get to a few games in Treviso this year. And yeah, there was a lot of things that happened that weren't clicking for them in every sort of facet of the game. And what they've sort of tried to pride themselves on, more recently under Bortolami, is that their home form is got to be good. Got to make sure you got to win all your home games. But it was, that European game against La Rochelle was, in particular, just like had a big match feel, which is probably the first time in a long time in Italian rugby that's happened. So even, it was more fantastic that they were able to get over the line. And then, yeah, I mean, just the Ulster game, Fez obviously has more of a foot in that camp from all of his experience there, but it was just such a disjointed ill-disciplined performance from Ulster, and I'm sure your supporters are tearing their hair out as to where they are in the league table. But from a Benetton point of view, it had a sort of a cup final feel to it. The La Rochelle Bath games felt it was real big. And the trick for Benetton now is just to try and back those performances up, because to go 1 week beating La Rochelle at home to then shipping, was it 40, near
48
50
or 44,
yeah, against the Ospreys is not good, and that's almost going back to the bad old days, which really can't happen. So for them it's just kicking on, and they've got the game against Connacht away, which historically is a real tough game. So as long as the journey to get there isn't near 20 hours, you would which has been known to happen, you would hope that they're in a better position to put a better performance and potentially win that.
Definitely.
Lads, while we've got you here, there's a couple other games this weekend. Just good to get predictions. I guess you first, Mossy. Can Scotland make it 5 in a row against England?
5 in a row.
First time ever,
Who would
isn't
have
it?
thought that? First time ever, yeah. I think they've obviously 4 victories in a row at the moment. I think they've been done once, I think, in the 1800s and 1890 or something like that. Never done 5 consecutive victories against England. It's a big ask. I thought England just stayed in the fight really well against France. That kind of obviously missed those opportunities early on. Where do Scotland challenge England? Scotland as attack has suited how England have defended in the past. So I still think you can take confidence from how Scotland could potentially attack if they get enough possession. I don't think England will be as rash defensively as they've been, certainly in the Autumn Nations series and maybe even last year in the Six Nations, because of the quality that the attack that Scotland can deliver. I'd say there's probably more pressure ironically on Scotland at the moment than England because of that run.
Yeah.
And because England obviously picked up that victory against France. When you play at Twickenham, it comes down to physicality. I know it sounds cliched, but it is, and we've dealt with their physicality really well the last 2 visits there. Clawed their way back 3 visits ago for the 31-0 down to draw 30 all, and that was just more spontaneity. But the last 2 victory of the Nays have been built on a really, really solid, hard defence, winning turnovers at crucial times, disrupting ball and contact, getting in their face. So we still need that approach with the quality attack. So it's a big ask. I think England will be favourites. Yeah, a big ask, I'd say, for Scotland at the weekend.
So no, then, all right.
What do you think, Shanks? Scotland or England?
Do you know what? I said at the start, missing Sione Tupelotu at 12, I think is absolutely massive for you. I think England might be a little bit too tough.
Yeah.
I think. You've had a good run, though. You've had an awesome run.
Yeah.
But I
You say
do
all
hope
these
you
things
do
Was it
it.
Gregor?
I do hope
Gregor
you do it, though.
7 fixtures for Gregor as head coach, wasn't it? And he's 1-5 or 1-4, drawn 1, lost 1. So it's or whatever it works out as.
Yeah, I think he's 1-5. Yeah,
It's
something
pretty good.
mental.
1-5.
Yeah.
That's right. Aye.
Still can't be
Is it
Ireland.
Twickenham? Is it at Twickenham, the game?
Twickenham, yeah,
It's
man.
at Twickenham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough
Tough.
one.
What
Big
do
wicket
you
game,
think, Mark?
Wicket game.
I was chatting to Mark Johnson. It looks like England are going almost back to like what made them so successful maybe a few years ago, like a bit more of a pragmatic approach, big forward pack, and all the stuff I think you associate with probably English rugby. And you look at the pack they're picking, all the talk in the media is about, I don't know if you saw it, is a Steve Jones article about, Scottish packs full of wimps or something like that was the kind of headline. And I think it'll be quite attritional just up front. I don't think it's going to be potentially the spectacle that we've seen the last couple of years. You look back at those games, it's been like unbelievable tries.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's maybe going to be that kind of game. I think it's going to be, like you said, Moss, a bit more.
Was it Sam
attritional.
Johnson scoring under the post? That was an epic game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He's
That was a
just
38-all draw.
Yeah, 30-all draw. It's mad. I don't think we're going to get 30-all, but I do know it. Actually, down to the corporate will do well. What about you, Ian? Quickly on your thoughts for Italy, a big one for you guys at home, isn't it, against France?
Yeah, against France. Yeah, I think it's usually the game that actually Italians don't, fear the most. Like, I mean, there's still England are still on a pedestal. Like New Zealand are still on a pedestal for Italians. Whenever they, New Zealand come to tour, it's like it's the big match. Much more than a South Africa or something like that. And just historically, I think, given the the history between the two countries, the geographical positioning, and all that, and think of all the players that play in France. From an Italian point of view, it's actually not a game that it's the one that they probably relish, that the guys relish the most. So it's never normally a classic. Going throughout all the games in the 25 years, it's not the spectacle that maybe people want. So yeah, I would expect that trend to maybe to continue, but I think Italians might be quietly confident, but I would expect France still to have a bit of a backlash from the game against England, and you can't see them dropping as many balls as they did as they did against England. If they capitalize on a couple of those, they're still one of the most dangerous teams in the world, given a bit of confidence in front football. And interesting seeing their team selection and all that sort of thing. But with a full stadium and hopefully a good start, as long as Italy can stay in the fight, you never know, but it'll be a tough task.
Well, we'll wait and see, lads. We'll let you, Mossy. We'll let you get back to. I think you've got to go to Tesco now. Other shops are available.
Get the shopping done, Mossy. Get the shopping done.
Get the shopping done. Yeah.
We've got your bags for life, mate. Got your bags for life.
I've got the bags in the back of the car.
You definitely have them. You keep them in the car, don't you? All year round.
That's it. That's the one.
Enjoy
the joys of Wednesday night. Eh? Cheers, lads.
Cheers, lads.
See you now.
Cheers, boys.
He's got bags for life everywhere in that car, I reckon.
Oh yeah. I reckon he's got a freezer bag as well.
I reckon in his boot he's got bags for life. He's got bags for life in his boot. He's got a high vis. He's got antifreeze,
water supply
for a week.
Lads, game changer. We're getting distracted here. Get an IKEA bag and bring it to the shops. You can fit about half your house in it. Do one bag and you just wrestle it. Game changer.
I'm a spontaneous shopper, John. I'm a spontaneous.
Oh, you're one of them. You're just pretending to pay for bags at the checkout and not pay for them. We've also those guys. How many bags? 0. And you've got 12 bags.
Shanks is the one person that goes into Lidl and he spends like an hour and a half there because he's just walking down those aisles at the back. They're just full of like gardening stuff and you can go in and buy a pneumatic drill in there.
I do like Lidl because it reminds me of like shopping on holiday. You don't know there's no brands. You just don't know what things are.
Buy some random stuff. Go and buy like a power drill or something when you're there.
Surfboard.
Power drill and bird feeder. That's all you need. I bought some random stuff in there. Right, lads, we'll jump on. We've kind of covered it already, but Edinburgh did lose. And our WhatsApp group was lively during this. I was away, but Edinburgh deserved to lose. Mossy touched on it there, Chris Paterson, about just a complete lack of cohesion from Edinburgh. I just don't know where they go next. I really don't, because like you said, Stevie, they had a decent team out, a load of internationals. They look like a team that does not know what the hell they're doing.
What's the story, John, with Ross Thompson at out half and Ben Healy? Like Ben Healy did he go to the Rugby World Cup?
Yeah, he played well.
Played well. Sort of second behind Finn Russell. I know Tom Jordan's come in and has been playing pretty solid rugby too, but like, is he just not fancied by Sean Everett, or has he been inconsistent? He's obviously got a much better kicking game than Ross Thompson, or is it just that change of style that Mossy was sort of alluding to with trying to score more points, more tries? But they just don't they seem rudderless, like with Ross Thompson at 10.
I just think they don't know how they're trying to play. Like when I watch them, they look quite good close to the line. Most teams are quite good close to the line, really, just direct. But when the ball comes, like any width in it, they just lose their shape. Their backs split either side of the pitch. You don't know what they're doing. So I think Ben Healy's probably confused. I think Ross Thompson's probably confused. You know, you look through that team, there's a lot of like decent rugby pedigree in it. Buffelli came back. I know he's not played it much. Wes Houston's a quality player. You know, it's not lacking, I don't think, quality. And you've seen these guys play in other teams. You know, Ross Thompson played at Glasgow, played very well. Ali Price the same. You know, Wes Houston come from New Zealand. Emiliano Buffelli. It's not lacking, you know, on paper. It just, to me, you're looking at me like, I do not know what they're doing. I'll tell you what, though, people who went to the game, the people that are writing about it, the fans are calling for blood on this, because it's, at some point, something's got to give, I think, because it's just not.
Worst
it's not
thing is,
acceptable.
yeah, you get yourself in a hole, and I've been in it as a player where you just don't know how you're going to get out. You're looking for results, you're looking for easier games, and some like Wales are now. I'm not saying it's as bad as that, John, but when you start looking around, you start searching for answers, it's a horrible place to be in, because the team on paper is really good, and it's just confidence plays such a huge part in sport. You know, when your tails are up, when the confidence is high, life is so much easier. I think they're a team that look really low on confidence, really low, and they look like a team that when it doesn't happen, when it doesn't go right first or second phase, they're looking around a bit, thinking, right, what can we do? And they don't really have any answers at the moment. Feel for them.
I'm trying to feel, where are they in the table at the minute, because they're going to struggle to make the playoffs.
12th, 13th.
Yeah, they are 9th at the moment, I think. Are they? Is that right?
9th.
Yeah,
I don't.
4 out of 11.
Got,
but there's a lot of teams that 4 out of 11. Zebre are 15th, and they've had 4 wins out of 11. So
4 wins from 11.
It's the running.
Look at it above them, and you look at teams below them. Like Stormers have got a load of injuries, will come good. You know, the Lions playing at home will catch up a few games. Ospreys look like they're improving. The Mark Jones, you think like it's going to be a scrap for them, I think. Anyway,
it's going to be a massive.
Anyway, that wasn't the only game. Ospreys ran Leinster close 1922. Shanks.
Yeah, they did. A good start by Leinster. Played to some nice width. I think we always thought there's a very, very high chance Leinster are going to win that game. You know, they were bookies' favourites. Most people would say they're going to win it. But what I was impressed about for the Ospreys was they just stuck in it. You know, they didn't let Leinster get too far ahead. They were within reach really all the way through that game, which was pleasing. Their driving line-out was really good. Now, I wouldn't say it was the highest quality of games. I think we didn't see that many high-quality games this weekend. And we've got to call it as it is, because you know, we're first to say, you know, it was a great weekend of rugby action. This one, I think 80%, 75% of the games weren't that great standard. This one wasn't the greatest. There was quite stop-start. It never really got much flow. Leinster, you know, just about had enough. RG Snyman, when he came on, was ridiculous, but we say that every single week. You know,
what about him, by the way? Like he couldn't string a game together for Munster. And he's playing every single week and playing. And I know he's coming on and, like, you know, he comes off the bench. He's not have to play every week. He'll have a bit of a higher load when the internationals are on. But I tell you what, they're getting way more out of him than Munster do. And it was just bad timing. He
was awesome.
He's so good when he comes on. He's for them now.
It's incredible.
Also much better. He's also much better when he's playing in a team that are also a good bit better in the Munster team that he's playing in or was playing in. So, like, you know, he can just do his thing instead of maybe covering other people's mistakes or having to use his physicality a lot more in certain situations. So, no, he's so good. But I tell you what, lads, 11 out of 11, 52 points, 10 ahead of Glasgow. Like, Slimani at tight head just comes in and does a job in anybody. Jack Boyle seems like the next replacement for Cian Healy. Just, you know, ring of all these players. The only thing was Frawley at out half. What was his opportunity? Put a bit of pressure on the two lads that are in the Ireland mix, and he didn't play badly, but he didn't grab the game with the scruff of the neck. And You would hope that somebody with a bit of international experience, clutch moments in games, could have controlled the game better for them. But in saying that, they were winning the whole game. They were never behind, and the Ospreys scored a late try to put a wee bit of pressure on them. But yeah,
they missed a touch right at the end as well, Stevie. They missed a touch right at the end, which was a bit of a shame because there'd be a lot of what ifs. But look, I thought it was quite a positive display by the Ospreys. Leinster come to town, stuck within it, had a chance to win it, didn't. So not too bad.
Yeah, but I tell you, I saw this next game. Actually, sorry, I didn't see all of this game. I turned this game on, Bulls versus the Sharks, 19 to the Bulls, 29 to the Sharks. And I turned it on at the point where the Sharks hit 3 forwards in the sin bin within 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Bulls are just dominating up front, horsing them at scrum time, running mauls up the pitch. I turned on at the end, and the Sharks have won. I mean, I don't know what to make of it. It was at the Bulls as well. The Sharks could not do anything in the game, and yet a couple moments of magic, a couple brilliant scores, and they find themselves winning in the most unlikely circumstances. I mean, there literally was a moment. There was 8 penalties in a row against Sharks. 8 penalties in a row. 3 of them were sin bins. Just all at sea. Trying to scrummage with 5 people. They didn't have a clue what was going on. But Hendricks scores a wicked try, length of the pitch try. But I think that's had 1 or 2 players in the bin. They're just coming back to numbers. But yeah, bonkers win for the Sharks.
Do you know what's scary, boys? You think about all the quality South African players, backs I'm talking about now mostly. But you look at some of the best players for South Africa in the club teams at the moment. Kieran Horn at the Lions, brilliant player. Lorenzo Julius looks quality for the Sharks.
God,
his acceleration and his link.
What about how big are his quads?
Yeah, they're massive. He's the quad father. Ethan Hooker, lads, is a really good winger. Plays centre as well. I thought he was excellent for the Sharks. And Van Week as well at the Lions. Yeah. These are boys that you don't really talk about and associate with playing in the national team, but every week they are just constant performers. It must be amazing to have all that talent to pick from.
Just on why is Willie LaRue playing 10? Obviously, he's played 10 the last couple of weeks. Is Houston injured, or Chamberlain was on the bench, and they just don't seem as a fast flowing team with Willie LaRue out half. Yeah. So lost the last 2, with him starting at out half. And the game before that, I think Houston played and they had a good victory. So keep an eye on that one. Yeah, 75% tackle success as well for the Bulls. Not good enough, but as you said, John, 17 pens given away by the Sharks and all those yellow cards. Fair play to them. Hung in there, scored some good tries.
I genuinely don't think I've seen a game like that where I just turned it off. I said, that's the game done. And then you think, well,
it was like the Exeter game. They had Exeter in the Champions Cup, and they went down to 12 or 13 men in that game at home. So their disciplines all over the shop.
Boys, what about this? Right, Lions making top 8 this year.
I think so.
Yeah, they finished with 4 home games. They got 5 home games left, but 4 they finished with on the bounce. They're just
last year at the moment. They hammered it the last couple of games. They horsed Glasgow away, didn't they? They just beat. Yeah, I mean they both beat the Storm. The Stormers are missing loads of players. You look at the injury list they've got missing, but yeah, they're so hard to beat at home. They get 4, like you say, Sharks, 4 to finish at home.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah,
Kieran Horn at 15 is quality. Van Week at 13 is quality. They play with a lot of width. They play right on the. They were able to get outside. I thought Stormers quite easily. Fairly simply. Then you've got Van der Merwe in the mix as well. Who's world class. So they've got a very good team.
I agree, Tom. They're going to take. I think there'll be a handful. Yeah. I just wonder, how do they push on? They just seem to get their best players poached at some point to the bigger sides, don't they?
Edwin
van der Merwe, boys. People don't speak about him too much. He's awesome. He's so good in attack.
The defense is a
They
bit.
have a good foundation of a team. Like they have a really good foundation. Mba Kanye in front row, Frankie Horn at number 8. You know, I know they switched the tens about a little bit, but they've got a great back three. They can score tries from anywhere. So I know they just missed out in the last final game last season to make the top 8, but they've 2 games in hand as well. I think they are 15. They are 12th at the minute with 2 games in hand. So you would like to think, you know, they would creep up the table maybe
And I'm
into
still
7th or 8th spot.
Still waiting to see a poor Van der Merwe player. Haven't found one yet. Haven't found one yet. They're all awesome.
Good
Franco Van der Merwe, I told you this before. He played for Ulster.
I'm going to change my name to Thomas Van der Merwe.
Weird, Duan's brother could not look anything less like him. That's something funny going on there.
Was it twins? Is it? Arnie and Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Stevie, what the hell happened to Ulster, mate? Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised, John. Wasn't surprised in the slightest. Yeah, a bit like Edinburgh. I think they're just all over the shop. They don't. Do you know what? I think they're actually being selfish as well. Early on in this game, I just think, like, so if there's a play call, they might take the ball on themselves a bit more, like be selfish with ball in hand. When it came to scrum time, they got absolutely dominated. You know, the set piece was pretty good for Benetton. I thought early in first 20 minutes, Ulster were half decent, created a couple of opportunities. McCluskey carried quite well. But after that, I'm going to say selfish as well. I'm talking about personal responsibility for being on the wrong end of referees' decisions. Their discipline was appalling, like really bad. 3 yellow cards, 1 could have been a red. The Tom O'Toole one. Shanks and I were in studio for it, and Mikey Larry could have got yellow carded in the first half as well. And to be honest, looking back on the game, there could have been maybe 1 or 2 more. So, like, we've been talking about this all season long, and it just is not being addressed. Like, the players have to take ownership. The coaches, I'm sure, are just shouting at a brick wall every single session that they have. And yet again, Ulster didn't score a point. I think it was 50 minutes or early on in the game, 32 minutes or something. They didn't score another point after that. We've seen it with Bordeaux. We've seen it with Bordeaux at home. We've seen it with Leicester Tigers away. We've seen it for large parts of the season. And to get beaten at home by Zebre, John, like, was a kick in the bollocks, like a massive kick in the bollocks. And you go, all right, you know, we draw a line in the sand. We just weren't up for it mentally. Let's go away from home. We're not going to have our own supporters on our back this week. Let's just go out. It was a beautiful night to play rugby. And they just come unstuck again. It's so draining to watch. Like the coaches aren't going to walk. Like they just announced, this was the funny thing, they just announced their coaching setup the day for next season, the day before the Benetton game. So like all the Ulster fans are going like, hold on a second, you've just named their coaching team, like, and we're getting beaten week in, week out by Italian teams, and we're not performing well. And they had a half decent team back as well, Shanks. And that was something that you were more positive about, was the centres that were back. Doak at 9, who has been playing a little bit better recently, Ian Morgan back, Stockdale back, and they just didn't fire a shot for 50 minutes of the game.
They had a really good start, and I think that's when they look best off a good bit of set piece and a bit of gain line. But after that, you're right, Stevie. They had nothing. They had nothing really to give. It was a really poor second half, and they didn't deserve to win. And we were sat there, weren't we? Just super positive pre-show. Like, this is one of the best Ulster teams on paper we've seen for a while. James Hume was back. We hardly saw him. They looked good in parts when they got it a little bit wide. But apart from that, like, I can't remember what went on in the game. It was that sort of uneventful.
Well, they get drummed again in the scrum. The loose head is a massive problem. Obviously the Stephen Kitsoff situation financially wasn't good for Ulster Rugby, but he didn't actually play that well either for Ulster Rugby. But then Andy Warwick's injured. Eric O'Sullivan's injured, and they bring in the young kid Boyd, who's just out of like the Irish under-20s, and like he got absolutely opened up, and the scrum is just getting destroyed week in and week out. The scrum got absolutely drummed last week against Zebre at home. Like it's you just can't win games like if you're giving away multiple penalties at set piece. And yeah, Timoney's been average since he signed his new contract. They've only a couple of other guys away. I think Ian Henderson might be a doubt now for the rest of the season. He's picked up a really bad injury, which adds more worry to the Ulster setup. So yeah, all in all, John, it's not good, and Ulster fans are seriously getting pissed off. Not losing games, and that's not like you don't mind losing games, but at least put up a fight. At least show a bit of heart and a bit of aggressive behavior in games, and give something to the fans to even get behind a little bit. But they're not even seeing that.
It is tough to watch. I think you're right. It's similar to watching Edinburgh play. It's like you don't know where they're going. You don't know what they're trying to do. Yeah. Long old season for them, I think, to finish up with.
Welcome to my world, boys. Welcome to my world.
Yeah, come on. Well, we'll move on. Munster. I thought Scarlets might do the job here, but Scarlets have been every game.
I saw that team, John, and just as well. Like that was a good team on paper. The Scarlets had.
Yeah.
Yep.
But just completely play off the park. Almost across the board, really.
Scarlets are saving themselves for Ulster like next week, aren't they?
Teams.
That's targeted that game, John. Stevie, that's the game they targeted. But yeah, they were out-muscled, I thought. There was no... Munster always seemed to have that physical edge. A Max Page try was the highlight. For the Scarlets, come on, looked really sharp, looked such a balanced runner. It was a chip over the top and he regains it. He looked sharp, and that was a big positive. But they just leaked the first try that they leaked was offset piece and it's back inside and sort of misread from Gareth Davis. But after that, just that Munster pack, Gavin Coombs was awesome. He could be. There's so much competition in that place, though, isn't there? There's so much competition at number 8 and back row for Ireland that he's not going to get a sniff, I don't think.
Oh, he's like, I just don't know. His profile just doesn't seem to fit the Irish way. And he scored, 2 tries off Zebo's all-time try scoring record or something for Munster. 16 carries at the weekend, lots of offloads, loads of passing. He's a silky ball player. He didn't have to make too many tackles because Munster had so much possession, but he's always there at the right time, and I just feel he's a little one-paced.
Maybe.
Like from minute 1 to minute 80, he's at that same pace the whole way, and it's maybe just because he's such a big man as well. But you see when Keelan Doris carries the ball back into traffic, or when Ryan Baird touches it, Jack Conan when he come on against Scotland there. Made impact straight away with huge counter rucks and just an injection of pace, an injection of intensity. I don't think that he has that injection. I just think he's just a 7 out of 10 player all the time, and he just gets on the end of obviously a lot of tries, and he's a hard man to stop from 5 yards out. So that's one of the reasons why he gets a lot of man of the match awards. But here, I tell you what, all he can do is keep doing what he's doing. I'm playing really well for Munster, and if there's another injury or two, you might see himself in there.
Yep, never give up.
Never go. That's deep. That's been to kids. I watched next game. This is a poor game. I was messaging you during this, Shanks. The Connacht Cardiff game.
It was John. You're right.
It was so bad watching it. It's windy as hell. But.
Shanks didn't even see it, mate. Shanks didn't even see it. JB was stuck in India's camille. He had 4 duck pancakes, red Thai curry with fried rice, and chicken dumplings or something. He was
6 Freddos, 2 packs of Buffalo crisps,
3 coffees.
New Year's resolutions off, is it?
Did you see his lunch today?
Food.
What about your lunch today, Shanks? What
Oh,
about-
boys, it was
what about your
breakfast
lunch?
and lunch. It was. I
Ah,
doubled up.
wise up.
I doubled up.
Yeah.
But look,
Steak
Connacht
and
took a fillet steak and eggs. Connacht took 14-point lead in the first half, which ultimately was enough for him. I thought Cardiff did a decent job at coming back. They had the wind behind them, and actually they were allowed to create some tries. They looked pretty good off set piece after sort of 3 phases. They looked pretty sharp. Scored a nice try from their own half, back inside, really well worked. Just basically, that play is a race between the back row and the winger. If you can take that pass that wide off a right-hand scrum, I thought it was quite a clever attack. I thought Rory Jennings, some of his passing was very good, and Cardiff were able to get on the outside of Connacht. You knew it was going to be, slightly different in the second half because it's a lot easier playing with the wind. It's a lot easier to get position. But I mentioned this a couple of times, and Stevie hammered me for it. Just taking kickoffs was poor, and that's been a bit of an issue really all season for him. You score a try, biggest thing you can do then is just switch on and nail your kickoff receipts, and they didn't. They lost that twice. Yeah, exactly. So that was, ultimately what undone them. But they had chances, they ruined the game, and it isn't the easiest place, if I'm honest, to go and win. Connacht.
No, it's tough. When's that stadium? What's that stadium going to be like? Is it going to be? How many is it going to hold, Stevie, when it's all set there?
Looks pretty good, yeah. I'm not sure. Full capacity. I have to ask Muldoon about that. But yeah, like the big stand was maybe 3/4.
I think it's around 12,000. I think it's around 12,000 capacity.
So
Start of
the season. But I'm saying that like changing in like a porta cabin and the facilities, pretty rubbish. About 3,000 people there, freezing, all on one side of the pitch, or most of the fans down at one end. It's not a great atmosphere, and I feel sorry for the Connacht players a little bit, having to really get themselves up for games week in and week out.
The dog track on the way over as well.
Yeah, stepping over the dog shit the way over,
Right, move on, lads. Last game, Dragons at home against
Speaking of dog, sorry.
Speaking of dogs, what you got a story for us, Stevie? Go on. Not appropriate.
I didn't see this game, so I can't comment.
I watched it. Glasgow's just, it's one of those games you look at the score and you're thinking, is it what it looked like? And yeah, pretty much. Dragons started okay, got into the game. Pretty much from sort of 30 minutes on, Glasgow just had way too much about them. Way too much. Individuals. Cancellieri was good. George Horn played really well. They're just really organised, Glasgow. They're everything that Edinburgh aren't in terms of how they play the game, how they understand where they're meant to be, switch players in, switch players out. And they're a group that they'll go well over the Six Nations. They'll just be organised. They'll grind teams down. Alex Mann played well as well. So they were good. They were really good. But yeah, a little bit disappointed with Dragons. Thought they might put up a bit more of a fight, given that they're not missing too many players. But
they get themselves into games. They get themselves into games, and then they just, I don't know. It's like, yeah, they were 10-0 up. They miss a kick to touch, and then Cancellieri ends up scoring. And I thought Cancellieri was running at about 75%. He did not look like he was. Maybe he was carrying a slight hamstring. He didn't look like he was given 100%, because a couple of times when he was gone, he gets clawed back pretty quickly. And things like Dragons score and then they don't take the kick off, and that just gives Glasgow then possession and territory in your own half, and they end up coming away with points. So you've got to start nailing basics like that for me. You've got to make your kicks to touch. You've got to take your kickoffs. You can't just give teams easy entries into your own half, especially a team like Glasgow who are well-drilled, physical, and will just take advantage of it. So, yeah, a little bit. I was slightly disappointed with the Dragons. They should do better. They should have offered more for me.
No.
But
hey,
c'est la vie.
that's life. C'est la vie.
That's life. Yeah.
That's life. That's life,
Yeah,
mate.
that's 6 inches. That's the 6 inches in front of you. That's football.
It's not 6 inches, is it? If you think of something else.
Did you know? Did you know this? Do you know this? Right. Rhys Williams was captain at Cardiff Rugby for a year. It was the year that I was injured for a whole season with a bad knee, and he used to play that speech, "Peace with Inches," from Any Given Sunday by Al Pacino before kickoff.
Every game.
So in the changing room, he'd give the nod when it was ready, and then someone would have to press play on like the iPod, and it would come through the speakers.
Oh, that's one of the worst.
We had the worst season ever.
Absolutely disgraceful behaviour. Oh God, great times. Let's move on quickly. I think this is your nomination, Shanks. The URC, the coveted award of the URC Unloaded Player of the Round. Who have you gone for?
Oh, is it me? Is it? No, Geronimo Prisciantelli for Zebre. Again, I think we're all just so happy and chuffed for Zebre at the moment. A team that's really struggled in this league, and all of a sudden now there's a bit of confidence they're playing with. They look a little bit more dynamic. They're entertaining. They play quite attractive rugby, I'd say, boys. You know, they play fast. They play fast, and they want to get to the width. And he is the URC Unloaded Player of the Round. Big fan. And also, what a great plug for the Three Sisters in Edinburgh.
Oh, yeah.
What a great plug.
Yeah, have you been there?
What a plug.
Have you been down Three Sisters?
What a plug.
It's a good pub down there.
It was like when Tiger first opened in Cardiff, and like, you know, everyone would come play Wales and like, where are you off? And all the French would go, Tiga. We got Tiga tonight.
Oh, Shanks, that reminds me, mate. When you're up in Edinburgh in a few weeks, head down to the Three Sisters. Genuinely,
already booked it, mate. Already booked a table.
There we go. Off the back of that.
Yeah.
Nice in there. Nice wine selection. Nice toilets. It's great.
Right.
Very nice. Any rants this week? Shouldn't really be any rants, is there?
Yeah.
Ulster are for me.
Just Ulster in general.
I just think
Ulster in general. Yeah, just that's me. That's pretty easy, pretty simple. It's making my life not very comfortable at the minute watching Ulster every week. So yeah, that's mine.
I'm here to talk, mate, if you need it. Probably my rant is I was just slightly annoyed about the quality of rugby this weekend. I think the two South African derbies were good. I enjoyed them, but the rest was just, for me, it was just a quite low quality and
dodgy.
Yeah, I expected more. So that's my rant.
I've got a rant. That's because I'm joining you, Shanks. I've been had my eyes lasered 14 years ago. I've had them done, but it's done. So yeah, so I need specs, and I cannot find specs with a broken nose, with my ears.
Ask your best mate Ugo. He'll find some for you.
Ray-Bans. He's got the Ray-Bans. The what they call the ones that stuff. Yeah, can't pull those off. So.
Nice.
That's me in general. Can't find specs. It's more just a personal rant. Let's wrap this up, lads, very quickly. Thoughts Wales versus Ireland. I'm gonna say Ireland by 35.
Slipping action on. I'm gonna say Ireland by 12.
Ireland by 22. I'm gonna say. I think they're way too well drilled for Wales. I don't think it'd be interesting to see what Matt Sherratt does on selection, because he's called back in Gareth Anscombe, Max Llewellyn, Jared Evans.
Anscombe at 10? Could he go with Anscombe at 10?
I think he will. Yeah, I think he will. Yeah, if he goes with Jared Evans at 10, then you're going to need Anscombe to kick, I'd say, for goal. So he has to play 15. But I'd imagine they'd go Anscombe, Ben Thomas at 12 in his proper position, Max Llewellyn 13. Maybe Ellis Mee at 15, or Blair Murray, Ellis Mee on the wing, and Josh Adams maybe. And then I'd probably go Reffel, Faletau, Jack Morgan, maybe Nicky Smith, Elliot
Will-
D, Will Griff John,
Right,
David Jenkins, and Rowlands.
Well, I think there will be a bit of. Well, we'll see how if there was a weight lifted off them by Gallon leaving. I'm quite looking forward to that one. I'm going to be down there, Shanks. I might see you down there in the locker room. Give it a plug. England, Scotland. Very quickly, lads.
This is the game. This is the game of the weekend.
England for me.
England for me, I think.
Yeah, I think England. I think they're probably a little bit too powerful. I really like Finn Smith at 10 and Marcus Smith at 15. I think the combination worked really well, and the amount of involvements Marcus Smith had coming in, I really think 2 ball players suits them. I think 2 ball players suits modern day rugby. You can get away with it if you're absolutely massive, but whether or not it's a 12 or 15, I reckon you need 2 ball players in then.
Shanks, we talked about it in the green room just before we went on air about the way Scotland seemed to like almost waste energy and emotion before the games even kicked off. So like before they played Ireland, they were coming out of the change rooms like nearly crying their eyes out, steam coming out their ears. Like, and the Irish lads were just like walking out casually, like just like, here it's just another game. And then like you had Chris Hoy who's coming on and giving it trying to get them even more motivated and riled up, and they were like ready to go. And then as soon as the ball was kicked off, it was just like Ireland kept control of it. 2 or 3 minutes into the game, it's almost like Scotland were 20% down on their battery charge. Like that's what it felt like, John.
Yeah, I watched that game back. I watched that back. Scotland was so bad. The first 20 minutes, if you go back and watch, Ireland literally did, and they didn't have to do anything. Scotland dropping the ball, playing the ball to width, kicking games poor, giving away penalties. Like, game's gone, 17-0 down. You're never going to chase Ireland back from 17-0 down, I don't think. With how organised they are, how good their kicking game is, how disciplined they are. So we shall see. I'm coming with you, lads. Last one, Italy against France. I'm going to say Italy.
What? No, France will win that, mate. I think Italy are good, but I cannot see.
Well, they almost been last year in France.
Nah, not having it.
Not having it. Well, that's the great thing about they're just opinions. Everyone's allowed to have one. Don't get upset about it. Well, the great news is, lad, that you can actually kickstart your weekend with Bulls versus Lions live on Premier Sport, 12 o'clock Saturday. And it says here, a great way to kick off your rugby weekend on the running water, which I agree with. Gents, I'm going to go down. I've got steak tacos that are ready to get eaten. It's actually onglet with the.
What is it? Hold on. What is an onglet steak? I've heard it, but I'm not.
Steak. It's kind of like you see it's like little ridges all the way through. I don't know which part of the cow it's from. Maybe I don't know.
Is it a flash fry or is it a slow cook?
Flash fry. Yeah, flash fry. Very, very tasty. Butcher's favorite cut, apparently.
Is
so
it?
there you go. Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Let's give myself some of that.
Yeah, get yourself some of that, lads. Shanks, I will see you. Oh, Mike, are you down in Ireland, Stevie? Are you down in Wales?
No, I'm not. I'm actually covering the England-Scotland game on Saturday. So, yeah.
Nice. Enjoy. Shanks, I'll see you on Saturday.
I'll see you, Jimmy.
Hey, Jimmy.
See you later.